Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's Saturday, Slashback Saturday. Now, this is where we pick a slasher film based on a certain theme and review it for the week. This week's theme is Love is in the Scare. And of course, it would be obvious for me to review My Bloody Valentine or Valentine, as I just watched Joe's review for it. Believe me, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. But this week I chose to check out a favorite of mine. Some of you may not consider this a slasher film, but I do. And I just found out it's getting a release from Scream Factory. I'm talking about The Seduction. Now, The Seduction is a 1982 film, which runs approximately 104 minutes, and we have a lot to get through on this one. It is written and directed by David Schmoller, who is responsible for Tourist Trap, Crawl Space, Catacombs, Puppet Master, and Netherworld. Some of those, of course, being Full Moon titles, but they were also good ones. Now, this stars Morgan Fairchild as Jamie Douglas, a reporter. Of course, Morgan Fairchild really did mostly like television, and I think the thing she was most famous for was Falcon Crest, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this also has Andrew Stevens as Derek. Now, he, of course, was in a movie that Scream Factory just released called 10 to Midnight, which is one of my favorite performances from him. And he was also in The Fury. And I also found out he was in a movie that is supposed to be getting a release, I believe from Synapse, if I'm not mistaken, which is Massacre at Central High. It's either that or Severin. Can't remember which one. Now, this also has Colleen Camp as Robin. Colleen Camp was in a lot of things, of course, in the 70s and 80s. I first came across her during the Bruce Lee film Game of Death, where she played the lead character's girlfriend. But she was also in The Vagrant, Deadly Games, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about a few days ago. I'd mentioned Eli Roth, of course, when he did Hostel 1 and 2. And Eli Roth also did Knock Knock, and the movie that I was speaking of that is a remake is Deadly Game, and it's Colleen Camp and Sandra Locke. So I apologize if there was any kind of mix-up on that one. Now, this also has Kevin Brophy as Bobby, who kind of plays a small part, but you will definitely recognize him if you've seen Hell Night. And it also has Bob DeSimone, who I recognized right away. I must have missed it the first time I watched this movie, because I haven't seen it in quite a while, but he plays Fernando. Now, of course, he was in Friday the 13th, Part 5. He played the guy who was picking up the girl at the diner. He was quite a character. And he also had quite a cool death in that one. But anyway. Now, this is a very straightforward movie. And it pretty much starts from the beginning. As I said, Morgan Fairchild plays Jamie Douglas, who is a reporter who is getting watched by Andrew Stevens, who is Derek. And she basically becomes his obsession, to where it goes a little bit too far. Now, she does have a lover, which kind of plays into the slasher part of it. And like I said, it's pretty much by the numbers. Now, a few interesting things about this film. This is the first theatrical movie for Morgan Fairchild. Um, Both Peter Gallagher and Michael Keaton were actually considered for Andrew Stevens' character, Derek. And the early 80s had a bunch of Peeping Tom themed films, such as, and I've actually seen most of these, Eyewitness, The Fan, Body Double, Visiting Hours, and Eyes of a Stranger. Now, this is like I said, a lot of people may not consider this a slasher film, but I do. It definitely has slasher elements to it, and when I first got this film, I think I got it from Goodwill, which was an incredible find, because at the time, this was actually going for between $200 and $300 on DVD. And I kind of saw it and did a double take because I couldn't believe I actually found it at a Goodwill. Now, the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a definite slasher film. And I do understand now why my dad rented it and didn't like it. Because he doesn't like horror movies, and because you do get to see Morgan Fairchild naked. So, sorry, Dad, but it's the truth. So definitely check this one out. I always like to do movies that are a little bit off the beaten track. I'm a little disappointed that Scream Factory is releasing this now, um, because I kind of wanted this one to be a kind of a revival for this movie, but it had already happened. So definitely check this one out. It will be available in May, I do believe. And yeah, get your copy from Scream Factory. And if you like what you see and hear, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.